Hey everybody, I'm Katallina, and today we're here to talk about episode 11 of Oshi no Ko Season 2. Today's episode seemed to be very much about exploring a variety of different possibilities. We get glimpses at what could be, what was, and what is. In essence, we kind of get different angles depending on who we are with and what's going on. We start off with this overall sequence between Kana and Aqua where they go on this cute outing to go and find him a suitcase. They have a latte together. They go out for dinner. It's just very nice, very romanticized, very sweet. It shows, at least in part, what things could have been between them if things were going to go better for the show, which of course, without a conflict and a plot, it wouldn't be going anywhere. So we know shit's going to hit the fan. But this gives us a reprieve and shows us what could potentially be. I found it really funny that when Aqua has everything all planned out and everything, and they're sitting there having the food, that Kana is basically like, you're acting like a 30-year-old man, like you have all your shit together and everything. And of course we as the audience are sitting there and thinking, well, he is a 30-year-old man, but there's no way for her to know that. The fact that he comes across that way is incredibly amusing. I also found her overall, situation in this whole thing really funny and sweet, because, I mean, he is what he is, whereas she is like a 15, 16, 17-year-old girl, and she is going through a crush, and she's going through getting ready for dates, and she's going through all of this with her personality and her life experiences, because the thing about Kana is that Kana is very smart about the business sense of being an actress and the reality of the acting world and all that sort of thing. But I would assume on the same token that Kana is probably also very clueless about all these aspects of dating and expectation and everything else, and what they would actually be for normal teenagers, because Kana has all her money she carefully saved and organized and everything and all that sort of thing going on. And she also has to think about the fact that she's an idol, which I believe means she's not really supposed to date. The point is to create this illusion of constant availability. So, I mean, even if she wanted to be with Aqua, which she obviously does, so long as she's an idol, that really can't happen because it would cause mass fucking hysteria, which is insane and crazy and everything else, but that is how that culture works, at least from my understanding. In contrast to this, we have the situation with Akane, which is much more grounded in the real, although it's definitely also grounded in a bunch of underlying perceptions and other things. And in this circumstance, we have the fact that Aqua continues to question whether he should be with Akane or not, whether he should, in essence, keep her or let her go, whether she has fulfilled her usefulness to him, whether it's right for him to continue holding on to her if he no longer needs her. Which, I mean, all of that, in my opinion, is just, it screams, get out of here now, because, I mean, if that's how he feels about it, then, it was ethically wrong for him to get involved with her to begin with. You see, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to sit there and really worry about the actual age that Aqua is as a spirit. I'm far more concerned with who he is in physicality, because that's what he presents to the world in this story. But at the same time, I mean, even if he was a young guy and didn't have all this other underlying supernatural stuff going on, I would still feel that if he wasn't actually sincere in what he felt toward her, that he has no business being with her. And especially now that, at least as far as he knows, his use for her is done, then yeah, stepping away from that if he doesn't actually want to be involved would be the right thing to do. I did roll my eyes at how much Akane wanted to talk about sex, and how much that interspliced with her concerns over whether or not Aqua wanted to stay with her, and the idea that she felt that maybe the reason he wanted to leave was because he felt she had some kind of obligation to her that she wasn't fulfilling. I mean, if a guy is like that, let him go. You're better off without him. I mean, also, it's very difficult for me when I watch teen characters and they go quite into that route, because I am a lot older than the story's actual demographic as far as the characters. So, I mean, it can be very hard for me not to come down very harshly on that kind of thing, because it can be so easy to be swayed into doing something intimate with somebody who doesn't respect you. And that to me is something that, if it happened to me, would really piss me off. So when I see it potentially happening to other characters, it is something that really does enrage me. And I am very aware that that is an extremely personal thing. It was funny in contrast seeing Kana think about, like, where are we going next after the food, and she's all like imagining possibilities. And he drops her off at her apartment and she's like, oh. And she's like, I don't know whether I wanted that or not. I mean, I can understand that teenagers think about that kind of stuff, and that there are also many teenagers who end up engaging in that kind of stuff because of the advances we have in science and protection and everything else, and the changes we have in reality to that in regard to culture and everything. So I mean, it's definitely a mixed bag, but it was clever seeing the contrast between the two girls and the two situations that they were facing. Kana still kind of daydreaming and imagining that she's in a situation where she could be with Aqua, whereas Akane is slowly coming to grips with the reality that Aqua may well be done with her. And that's got to be really hard, especially, as I said, because these two characters are teenage girls, whereas he is what he is, and that's just how that is. So there's definitely that to consider. Finally, we have two really key things that happen at the end of the episode, and these are the things which I think are going to be the anchor that moves the plot forward, because most of the episode was based on character interaction and growth in emotions, which I did find lovely and interesting. But these two things that happened at the end were the things that really left me in shock and definitely made me want to see more of the story. The first of these, of course, is the reality that Akane realizes that there is very well a potential loophole that Aqua is, for whatever reason, not seeing in regard to the information that he got about his father and whether or not his father is dead. And given the situation that Akane has just been through, with Aqua basically, in his own way, discarding her, it might well be in her best interest, before he does so completely, to actually tell him what she has realized. And it's a tough call, because on one hand, that's going to draw him back into his need for revenge, which in theory, in her mind, might seem like it draws him back into needing her. But at the same time, it wouldn't necessarily be something that's in his best interest. I mean, it would be much better off for Aqua to just get on with having a normal life. However, if Akane doesn't want to lose Aqua, it's entirely possible that instead of him using her, it could end up being her using this situation to keep him. And I mean, like, again, this is a teenager. I wouldn't necessarily put it past her. The final thing, of course, is the shocking reveal at the end of the episode. And first up, holy crap, that crow when it came in and it was just like taking over the screen. That was almost a freaking jump scare that startled me out of my skin. I wasn't expecting it. It was just out of left field. It was like, what are you doing here? And then to see that man cross paths with Ruby, who is visiting Ai's grave and all that sort of thing. And to realize that this is the man that Aqua is looking for. This is the man who is behind the wrongdoings toward Ai. And he is very much not dead, which means we very much have more story to go through. Which, I mean, I really do feel for Aqua and I feel for Ruby in that, like, this isn't going to do them any favors, but at the same time, as I said earlier, without this, there would be a lack of story, and that would not work. Overall, though, this was a pretty solid episode. I like how it showed what could have been, the kinds of things that could have happened, and the life they could have gone with, had this actually been a true reality and not something where something is obviously misplaced or wrong. But I'm definitely looking forward to getting back into the thick of things and seeing what happens next and just what kind of crazy antics go down as Aqua goes about actually trying to get his revenge and to deal with what has happened. But those are just my thoughts. I'd love to know what you guys are thinking, so drop a comment below and let me know, and I'll talk to you in the next video. See you later. Bye!